Hello and welcome. My name is Anna, and I am a mindfulness instructor. I am a yoga teacher. I used to run a yoga studio. I don't any longer for many years. I was also part of the team behind the mindfulness app, the start of the mindfulness app. But I have also continuously developed material for the app in forms of meditation and courses, both in Swedish and English. And I love mindfulness and self-compassion. And for me, they are deeply connected, and it it's difficult to separate them. And the amazing thing with both mindfulness and with self-compassion is that they have the ability to really enrich our experiences. Since some years back, I'm also working as a somatic intimacy and pleasure coach. And I also am trained in sexual health. So I am a health informed intimacy and pleasure coach. And what has driven me for the past 20 years is that what helps me in my own life, that is something I want to share with others. That's been the case with yoga, with mindfulness, self-compassion, and it's the same with pleasure and sensuality and sexuality, where so many of us have a problematic relationship, which is it's not, in my opinion, strange at all, because we have a society with a complicated relationship many times to sexuality and to pleasure. And mindfulness is such an important ingredient for deepening the connection both with ourselves and a potential partner in intimacy and sexuality. And that's what I'm going to talk about here. And I'm so glad that you are here and that you want to learn more about these things. So I want to speak about what mindfulness is, how I define pleasure, and the connection between mindfulness and pleasure, and mindfulness and intimacy and sexuality, and how mindfulness can help to enrich our sexual experiences, our pleasurable experiences with ourselves, with a partner, and how our senses can really help us in life in general if we want to explore, experience more pleasure, and also in intimate situations, and how awareness of the breath can be helpful in pleasure, in sexuality, and how you can start or continue this journey, and some recommendations of various exercises you can try and other ways that you can immerse yourself if you want with me. So I want to start by saying that I will use the words yoni and lingam for the female and the male genitalia. And I use those words, there are many words we can choose from, right? But I use those words because, first of all, I think they are beautiful. And I think for most of us, they are uncharged. So yoni is for the female and lingam is for the male. And they are Sanskrit words. And they are also honoring the sacredness of these beautiful parts of the body. And in this lecture, I will speak about the female body and the male body. And I will also, if I refer to any kind of relationships, speak about heterosexual relationships for the simple reason that that is what I myself have experience of. But I really want to underline that I celebrate all forms of pleasure, regardless of gender and how we identify ourselves. And I hope that anyone who identify as something other than female and male can translate what I convey to yourself. Uh, it's hard for me to speak about things that I don't have experience of, but I hope and believe that what I share is it's truly universal to all humans and go way beyond any kind of gender affiliations. And you will also hear me speak about self-pleasure rather than masturbation. And to me, they are two slightly different things. Um, so for me, and might not be the same for you, we use different words for different things, but I just want you to know what I'm referring to. So to me, self-pleasure involves being truly present, being very present in the moment, following the energy in the moment, and a little bit like a meditation, right? When we are fully present in the body and and also to thoughts and feelings that arise. And also to me, it includes to create almost like a ritual space, like a sacred space, a space just for us without goals and agendas. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do anything with that space. You can, but you don't have to. It's more of an attitude, it's more of an intention. But if you want, you can set up the space beautifully, maybe have a candle, some scents, some incense or flowers or whatever you like. And this in this space, it can include various flavors of pleasure. It can be soft, it can be slow, it can be hot, it can be joyful, it can be sensual, it can be wild, it can be really sexual, it can be gentle. Whereas at least for me, the word masturbation is more of a quick thing. Like it's not a ritual space. It's a quick thing with a clear goal of a climax orgasm. So I'm also going to invite you to take a deep breath with me during this lecture. 1 hour is quite a long time, and it's going to be a lot of information. And I really want to give those pauses for you to have a chance to integrate, digest a little bit of what I'm speaking about. So let's start here. So take a deep breath in and breathe out through your nose or your mouth. Oh. And during those pauses, I also invite you to really connect with your body. So, what is mindfulness? I think the easiest answer to that question is to be fully present in the moment, moment by moment. And usually in the definition of mindfulness, it's also added without any judgment. And I like to broaden a little bit or put in some more words. And those words are with the intention not to judge, because we are human beings. We judge and we judge. Simple as that. We judge, and don't have to be a bad thing as long as we're aware of that it's happening. We divide things in good or bad, I like, I don't like, and so forth. And that's a way of moving around in this world. But it's beautiful to have an intention of not judging ourselves, judging our experience, judging others. Because if we have that intention, in my experience, it's much easier to notice when we judge. We don't have to shame ourselves or beat ourselves up. It's natural. But the more we see that we judge, we have an opportunity to choose. We don't have to follow along with that judgment. We can see it for what it is. Oh, I'm judging, and then let it go. And pleasure. We can speak about pleasure in broader sense. And we can speak about it in connection to intimacy and sexuality. And I'm going to start with a broader sense. To me, pleasure is anything that feels good. And when I speak about the broader sense, it's pleasant sensations in the body. It can also be like a feeling of being alive, feeling alive, vibrant. And pleasure can feel like in the body, it can feel like different sensations, including warmth, tingling, ding, pulsing sensations. It can feel like your whole, maybe your heart, your yoni, if you're in a female body, expand. So sense of expansion, and other things, a feeling of joy, a feeling of bubbly maybe, or satisfaction. And we can we can find that in so many things in life, basically. When we bring our presence to things, when we bring presence to our food, we can feel a lot of pleasure, the smell, the taste. And when taking a warm shower, if we're fully there and not busy in our minds, so we miss the whole thing, but if we're truly there and feeling the warm water on our skin, that gives us a lot of pleasure usually. Walking around in the woods, taking in nature, there's so many things that can bring us pleasure on a daily basis. But often we are not there for it because many of us live in our busy minds with stress, with to-do lists, and we might have a lot of tension in the body. And there can also be other things standing in our way. We might feel unworthy of receiving pleasure. We might feel that we can have a very unconscious programming that we don't deserve pleasure until we have done a lot of things. Or we feel shame to receive pleasure, and all of these things can make it difficult for us. We miss out of the pleasure that is available for us. But actually, pleasure supports our nervous system, and it can also help us to feel more content, more alive, more energized, more present, more productive. And when we feel disconnected from pleasure, we might feel a bit numb. We might feel exhausted, drained of energy, the opposite to expansion, so a little bit closed, perhaps frustrated. And at least to me, life can feel quite gray. And when we open to more pleasure in broader terms in daily life, this also most likely increases the sexual pleasure we feel during self-pleasure or with a partner. So, how can we explore pleasure with the help of mindfulness, or how can mindfulness be of help? So, there is a very natural and strong connection I find between mindfulness and pleasure. We can have our attention in various places in daily life, and also when we are intimate with ourselves, and with a partner. We can be in our head, and we can be in different places in the head. We can be in maybe sexual fantasies, or we are in thoughts about things on our to-do list, maybe the laundry, everything that needs to be done. Or, so either we are there in different places in the head, in the mind, or we are present in our body. And if we are present in the body, we can actually feel, we can sense in the body. It's really not possible if we are busy in the mind. So this is the beauty of mindfulness, of being present, that it can help us to be in our body. And that's where we want to be. It's such a beautiful opportunity for deepened experience, deepened intimacy, and deepened connection with ourselves, and with a partner. So when we are being present in the body, we also get the opportunity to discover pleasure in parts of the body where we might not have thought we could experience pleasure, and that we will miss if we are in the mind. So if we are in the present moment, which is basically what we practice when we practice mindfulness, to be in the present moment, when we are present in the body, there is no future. We are just resting in the present in the body. And there is only the pleasure that we are experiencing right now. No need to chase pleasure in the future or think about anything in the past. We are here now, sensing the pleasure in our body moment to moment. And that can become very restful. And we can discover so many things. We can discover subtle sensations, subtle pleasure that we easily miss otherwise. If we are in our head and we are determined to reach a goal, we very easily miss that kind of beautiful pleasure. And not only for sexual intimacy, for sexual pleasure, but also pleasure with other things. For example, food. To really be there with food, to smell the food, to look at it, to maybe touch it and feel the different flavors. That is a very sensual experience, a very pleasurable experience. Eating something with full presence and slowly. And it's nourishing on many levels. It's not only nourishing on a physical level, but it's also nourishing on an emotional level to our hearts. So I invite you again. Maybe you want to close your eyes, take a deep breath. Maybe your body wants to move. So breathing in. Breathing out. And take a note. What do you feel in your body in this moment? So I want to speak about the attitudes that we practice in mindfulness. They are really applicable and valuable in pleasure and sexuality. So one important attitude we practice in mindfulness, and every time we meditate, is non-striving, non-achievement. And that is something that is incredibly valuable to bring in to intimacy, to sexuality. Um, Many people that I meet, they they realize um, that achievement and striving are present in their sexuality. And not seldom, they also realize that this actually makes them lose their desire. And I can really understand that. If we have worked the whole day and coming home, maybe we have cooked food, maybe we've done some laundry. If we have children, perhaps we have helped them with homework. It can be really exhausting to also come into the bedroom and perform and strive and achieve goals. Like, we don't want that. And I think it's not strange, right? That performance and goals have sneaked into this area of life, since performance and achieving is such a large part of the society we live in. But it is possible to have sex in a completely different way, where we don't strive for a specific goal, where we don't have to perform, but where we are more flowing with pleasure in the moment. We're like celebrating every nuance of pleasure that's present in the moment. That's all there is. No need for anything else. I sometimes talk about this like goalless pleasure. We're just rejoicing and bathing in the pleasure that's present. So, in this way, intimacy, sexuality can become a place where we draw power and energy from. And it's quite similar to a meditation in some aspects. I mean, if you sit on a meditation cushion with the goal of, like, I have to become calm, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to do this, most likely will exhaust you. The same thing in intimacy. So, on the meditation cushion, in the bedroom, or wherever you have sex, you really don't have to perform. We can learn to relax into the body, into the present moment, be there, rather than doing. We do so much all the time. So here is a space to actually be and see, allow the sexual energy to take us wherever it wants to take us. And another valuable attitude we practice in mindfulness is to have a beginner's mind every time. And many of us, we learned to have sex when we were quite young, and it's not that uncommon that we continue in much the same way. We changed certain things, yes, but much of the things can stay in the same way. And by having a beginner's mind, we get the opportunity to discover and expand what pleasure and sexuality can mean. And we get the opportunity to discover that there's so many things here that we can discover, and that there are so many more parts of the body than we might have thought that are pleasurable, that are orgasmic. And for that, we need to come in with a beginner's mind, an openness, a curiosity, presence. Another important part of mindfulness is to practice acceptance. Acceptance of the experience in the moment, acceptance of what's happening inside of ourselves and outside of ourselves. It doesn't necessarily mean that we like what's in the present moment, but rather that we allow the present moment to be as it is. And I know for myself and for many others that I worked with that there's often a relief to come to that place of acceptance. Like, okay, this is what I feel. This is what's alive. This is what's real in this moment. And acceptance can be so valuable in the world of pleasure and intimacy. The acceptance can help us to see, say you are in an intimate situation with someone and you lost your presence, and so you're not where you wanted to be present, and you're not, you're in thoughts, and you realize that that's happened, and now you don't feel your body any longer, and you are doing things together with your partner. And acceptance in this case could mean that you say, hey, you communicate like, I realize that I'm not present in my body any longer. Can we just take a pause? Can we just breathe together? Can you just help me to come back to the body? For instance. And mindfulness can also help us see where we are not in, where, yeah, help us to see where we are not yet in acceptance. Dare to see that. And that's also where self-compassion come in, because that can um, be quite vulnerable. So one example is the acceptance of the body. If we don't feel comfortable in our own skin, in our own body, if we don't accept it as it is, that can prevent us to drop deep into the body and to relax. And relaxation is so important to open up to all the pleasure that's available for us in the body. So I invite you to close your eyes and taking a deep breath in and out. And I also want to invite you to place your hand anywhere on the body. If there's things that I say in this lecture that trigger something in you, maybe an uncomfortable emotion, uh, maybe some uncomfortable sensations. Maybe you know what it is, maybe you don't know what it is, it doesn't matter. But just when you feel it, and if you feel something uncomfortable in your body, you can just bring your hand there and just connect with that part and soothe that part, not to get rid of it, but just showing that you are there for it. It's very normal, very, very normal that things are triggered. So be kind to yourself in that. And that brings us to compassion, self-compassion. Because when we admit to ourselves with the help of mindfulness, with being present, say, for example, that we admit to ourselves that we feel shame about certain body parts, self-compassion can really help us meet ourselves with kindness, because it is challenging when we feel this way for all of us. And we might think that I'm over that. I do accept my body. And sometimes that can be a wish, a wish from our mind. I want to accept my all parts of my body, so I decide that I accept my body. But if that's not what we feel, um, better to bring it up to the surface and and really meet ourselves with kindness, because that can gradually heal our relationship with the body on a deeper level. Mm. So let's talk about consent. There's a lot of talk about consent in our time, which is fantastic. It's great that we're talking about it. It's super important. But if we are not present in our body, from where will we consent? If you are not present in your own body, from where will you consent? So if we're not present in the body, it will come from the mind. It will come from the mind, which is not always a reliable place. Because we might tolerate things, certain things that we really don't want. The body doesn't want. Because we have a deep pattern about pleasing, being the good one, the nice one, the one who takes care of others, the one who doesn't want to hurt her partner or his partner. Um, we might not want to come across as boring, or we have an idea of ourselves that we are a person who says yes. Maybe our partner has praised us because we are a person who says yes. So we might also think that, but my partner gave me this and this and gave me so much pleasure, so that automatically means I should blah, 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 blah. It doesn't. Not if your body is a no to it. And with the help of mindfulness and being present in the body, we can more easily honor our body, develop a deep and intimate relationship with our own body. And if you live in a female body, you need to learn when your yoni is a yes to receive something inside of her, when she is a yes and when she's a no. And being really present in this part of the body can gradually help us hear what she's saying, what she wants. Many times, not always, a yoni needs a little bit more time than a lingam to warm up properly. I mean, I see it in stages. She can be a little bit warm, and we might take that as a yes. But if we allow her to really open up, you will know for sure. There will be no doubt. There will be a clear yes. And that is very beautiful and very pleasurable. So why, we can question, why do things need to go so fast when, and we live in that kind of culture, it's fast, it's speedy. But when we really learn to honor our yoni, she will reward us, she will reward you with such a powerful yes, yeses. And then sexuality will be greatly changed. And that is also a fantastic gift to a partner, for them to experience those powerful yeses. And I mean, who really wants to be with someone that's in fact a no? I believe very, very few, if any. And mm, hmm. So the norm in our society is the male pleasure anatomy, and we may not think about that. Most of us don't get taught these things, but the female pleasure anatomy often, not always, but often takes longer time to fully heat up. And that's neither good or bad. It's just how it is, often. And if you live in a male body, it's of course important and valuable for you to feel into what your body wants as well, of course. And with the help of mindfulness, we can also pay attention to whether we end up in striving in performance in sexuality. And if that happens, that's also a beautiful place to take a deep breath in, out. We can always ask our partner for a short break. And I think being vulnerable and asking our partner for a break, that can really deepen the connection between between the two of you, between you and your partner, if you dare to do that. We can normalize that it's really okay to say, whoa, wait, can we stop? Can we go slower? Can we da da da, you know? Um, and I think it's a beautiful gift to share that with a partner. Mm, maybe you want to stretch, take a breath. So, a few more things how mindfulness can help to enrich our pleasure, our sexual experience. Um, so again, it can really help us be present with ourselves, with a partner, rather than thinking about it. Thinking about time and the future can really kill desire. And mindfulness can also be of great help outside the actual intimate situation to really, if we're really honest with ourselves, it can help us to be that. What do I really need to feel safe in an intimate situation? And if I don't feel safe, it's very difficult to relax and be present in the body and surrender to the moment. And what makes us feel safe is very personal. Um, for example, it can be safe can mean, feeling safe can mean locking a door. It can mean turning on music. It can mean turning off the light. It can mean I need to tell my partner something. That's really something to create safety outside of you. Safety inside of you can be related to different things, but one is to feel comfortable in the body that I spoke to earlier. So we feel safe in the body. It can also mean that I need to seek help for certain things because maybe we don't dare to be fully present in the body. We feel unsafe to be fully present in the body. And that's a beautiful place to seek help. Hmm. Another helpful thing is to become aware of what are my brakes and what are my accelerators when it comes to pleasure and intimacy. Brakes are anything that lowers your desire, and accelerators are anything that increases your desire. So, becoming aware of these, we can ensure that we create an environment where we reduce our brakes and we increase our accelerators. And it can be sometimes it's really small things, and it can be really an aha experience to notice like, oh, I just needed that and that, and I just needed to tell my partner this and this. So when it comes to intimacy with a partner, it can mean that we need to communicate. Um, and that also is vulnerable. We need to communicate that actually this, whatever it is, slows down my desire. And one thing could be if we feel pressure to be open, the body, the yoni to be open quickly, that can be a really big break. And also communicate our accelerators to a partner. So maybe a partner can help us with that. Mm. I want to speak a few words about our senses and how we can get help from our senses. So they can really help us to bring us back to the present moment. And being connected to our senses in daily life, yeah, that's where we get so much pleasure, right? If we are out in the sun, we feel the sun on our skin and we're really present and feeling it, that can give us so much pleasure. See something beautiful and be truly present with that gives us pleasure, and so on. And so, in an intimate situation, there's a great value in having, for example, scents that we like, that makes us feel safe. Maybe you have an incense that you really like, or a scented candle that you perhaps light when you journal or when you meditate, which makes you feel safe and calm. That's perfect to bring into an intimate situation. It signals to your nervous system that you are safe. This is a sacred space. And research shows that there seems to be certain differences between men and women. Women, for example, are more sensitive to scents. And of course, if there is a scent that it's a turn off for you, there's of course a great value in telling that to your partner. I'll give you a personal example. For me, it's garlic. I'm super sensitive both to eat garlic myself, and I'm super sensitive if someone smells garlic. So my partner knows that there will be no kissing after eating garlic. Um, I mean, if both partners are eating garlic, then you don't feel it. But since I don't eat it, or I try to avoid it, that's a deal for me. Sounds can also be really important. So perhaps putting on music that makes you feel, you know, that ah, I feel alive in my body hearing this music. I feel, or calm, and maybe music that really invites you into your body. So all of our five senses, the smell, hearing, touch, taste, sight, can really bring us back to the present moment. And also sounding yourself, letting the pleasure come out in sounds, can be a really valuable way of staying in your body. Can also deepen your experience, can deepen your pleasure. And it's also valuable because when you sound, it's more tricky to get kidnapped by your thoughts. And what I mean with sounds during intimacy, sexuality, I mean authentic sounds that are coming from your body, not putting a lid on. And I know that it can be difficult for many to allow themselves to let sound appear organically, freely. Maybe we feel intimidated by the idea of someone would hear us, or we're just unused to expressing authentically the sounds. They usually don't sound like what we see in movies. So it can be really good to practice on your own. Mm, yeah, practice on your own is valuable. Many things are easier to practice with ourselves first. And I also want to say something about slowing down and subtle sensations. So, very slow, very sensual touch can be incredibly valuable to our arousal and to our desire. Our skin is a very sensitive organ. And if you are really present in your body, you will be able to detect So many subtle sensations in different parts of the body. As long as you feel safe and you don't feel pressure. Hmm. So taking a breath in, maybe moving your body a little bit, maybe just holding your hands over your heart, noticing what you feel. So I also want to touch on how awareness of the breath can be really helpful to increase our pleasure and be helpful in sexuality. So by being present with the breath in an intimate situation, it can also help you to be more grounded in this moment here in the body. It helps you to connect with the body because we can feel the breath in the body. And it's really important not to hold our breath if we want to feel sensations in the body. So breathing deeply will make you experience a higher degree of sensations. And you can also learn to expand the pleasure in the body using your breath, using the awareness, and bringing the pleasure to different parts of the body. So the next time you're intimate with yourself or with someone else, you can just, from time to time, just direct your attention to the breath. Just notice if you hold your breath. And so if you do, just take a long, deep breath in and out, and perhaps letting a sigh, the exhalation come out with a sigh. So how can we begin? If you want to become more present in self-pleasure or with a partner, so one suggestion is to create a self-pleasure session, as most things are easier to start with on your own. So my invitation for this is to have no goal with this session, whatever you want to call it, a ritual. That is, the goal is not to have a climax orgasm. Nothing wrong with them, but this is not the goal. So we don't want to go in and set that as a goal, like I'll finish when I've had a climax. So that's not the determinator in this, that you are finished. So you can see it as a date with yourself where the intention is to explore yourself, explore your body without striving, without pressure, without doing, and without an end goal. So rather, it's an opportunity to explore different forms of pleasure, different flavors, different forms of touch. Touch and pleasure come in so many different forms. Soft or warm, slow, tender, hot, gentle, soothing, sexual, peaceful, raw, so on. And my suggestion is that you make it a really safe space, really comfortable place. Light a candle, maybe incense, lock a door, put on music that turns you on, and set a timer and let the time determine when you finish, not what happens in this exploration. And you can, of course, continue longer after the timer's gone off if you want. Um, and what kind of practices can be helpful? So I would say there are different kinds of practices. If you have the mindfulness app, all the practices in the mindfulness and intimacy section are valuable. They can both be used to increase, they can all be used to increase your presence um, and your intimacy, your pleasure. So yeah. Okay. I start over with that one. What you'll find in this section, there are both practices to increase your presence and some breathing practices. There is a yoni breath work. There is a lingam breath work that are such valuable practices because there you direct your attention to your yoni or your lingam outside of an intimate situation. And that is really valuable. my warm recommendation is that you direct your attention to your yoni or to your lingam daily. Pay attention to sensations there. Just take a breath and feel that part of your body, so that we're not only visiting those part of the body in intimate and sexual situations, that we are creating a relationship with that part of the body. Another thing you could do are self-love. Self-love and self-compassion practices. They really create a beautiful foundation for pleasure. So the more we develop self-compassion, the more we develop our self-love, the more easily we will open to pleasure. And there are lots of meditations around that in the mindfulness app as well. Another thing you could do is dance with yourself, for yourself. Preferably, I like to do it with headphones so that the music goes directly into the body, and dance in any way your body wants to. There's no like right or wrong way. No one can tell you what's like essential way of moving. That's really up to you to feel, because it becomes sensual when you are connected to your body, when you feel and when you let your body move. And another practice you can do is to set an intention to eat with full presence. And that can also be good to do alone. And that can be a very pleasurable experience to really take in the taste, smell, the touch, consistency of the food in your mouth, seeing the food. Mm. And another daily practice I invite you to do is to experience every form of pleasure that's present for you in any given moment. Just stop and notice maybe warm wind in your hair, maybe sun on your face, or maybe bare skin against a warm cliff. There's so much if we are curious, if we are open ourselves to the moment. And if you have a longing to deepen into these topics of pleasure, of intimacy, pleasure and sexuality, you're more than welcome to go deeper on a journey with me. I both have individual coaching, and I also have group courses and retreats. So individual coaching is something that I offer both to men and women and couples. And but I also want to stress how valuable it can be to do by yourself. You don't have to have a partner. It can be beautiful if you don't have a partner, and do this work of reclaiming your pleasure, reclaiming your body, and not reclaiming your body, but reclaiming your relationship with your body and your sexuality, because it's your sexuality is for you. That's where it all starts. You don't need a partner to have a sexuality. You can invite a partner to your sexuality, but first and foremost, it's for you. So, individual coaching can really be an opportunity to go deep, go into the shadow territories, the blockages, and open up gradually to more and more pleasure. And yeah, I'm there with the deepest intention to hold a very, very loving, very safe space for you in that process. It's not a talk coaching, it's a somatic coaching. Of course, we talk also, but with somatic coaching, I mean that we make trips down into your body. You go there, and I'll be your guide. That's why it's called somatic coaching. And the reason for doing that is that our subconscious manifests itself in the body through sensations. And we hold a lot in our subconscious, unconscious realms. It's like, it's a huge part. And many, many, many of us hold things around pleasure and sexuality in our unconscious. So if we really want to heal, if we really want to create a change in the depth that lasts, we need to go down into the body. So my coaching also includes a lot of mindfulness and a lot of compassion. So the coaching can be done in Swedish or English, and it's online, so you can be anywhere in the world. That's the beauty of online. And in English, I also offer both Swedish and English. I offer different courses. I have one course which is called Embodied Self-Love, which is really that we deepen um, we deepen ourselves in self-love, and it's embodied. It also involves the body. And I have another course if you want to deepen into pleasure. I call it Pleasure 2.0. And there we meet in an intimate group with women. We meet around once a month or every third week for 8 to 10. I'm about to change it. So I think it's going to be 10 sessions for 2.5 hours. And it's beautiful. It's magnificent to meet in a group. Because so many of the things that we keep, maybe we have shame about certain things and we think no one else experienced this. You will notice that you are not alone, and sharing and hearing someone else, it's so healing. So healing. So each session here includes sharing, and of course you are sovereign. You decide how much you share. It also includes some theory and then exercises where we deep dive into the body. And after, we have a platform where the course is, and I will put up, so if you miss sessions, no problems. The recording will be up, and there are audio files for home play between sessions, and they include breath works, meditation, visualizations, energy exercises, and self-pleasure exercises. And there's also, you can also take this course and add on a few individual coaching sessions for you. So that course in English will start whenever there is enough people of interest. So it's just to contact me in the contact details below. And yeah, you can ask me any question you want also. I look forward to hear from you. And thank you for being here. So let's take a yummy, juicy breath before we end. So breathing in. Ah, breathing out. Thank you.